Happy Saturday. I hope this beautiful day has been just glorious for each and every one of us. I'm doing just a brief blurb today. Sean's busy working to get some updates. I'm getting a lot of questions and feedback on our Facebook page, and I hope soon to be able to transition where I'm not doing these on my personal page anymore, and we upload everything there. But we're still waiting on some platform updates and certain statistics we have to meet, like X amount of viewers or X amount of time before we can stream from the Disturbed Oasis Facebook page and Facebook. And we have something called Streamlabs that we've bought that will do the stream and then simultaneously do it with all the other platforms. Plus, it'll give us the capability to do remote interviews so that we could interview someone in their office or at home, because I know it's inconvenient, to come here and make the arrangement and whatnot. So we do have some interviews coming up next week. On Tuesday, we'll be meeting Mr. Roller, Larry Roller, who's running for District 2, and his opponent is Mr. Dixon. We had scheduled, okay, this is bothering me back here, sorry. We had scheduled, and I see then I pulled this one. Oh my goodness, whatever. Sean tells me these little things don't matter, quit worrying about it, we're just starting out, but it bothers me. Like when I did the video with Monty Thompson and this stupid pole was, it's because I was sitting so far to the side I didn't see that the pole was in the camera view. But we're in the process of trying to get some better equipment and such anyway. Yeah, that bothers me. But anyway, so, Mr. Dixon, we were supposed to interview, I think, last Thursday, right after Mr. Thompson, but something came up and he had to reschedule, and that's fine. He said he'll do it this week. So I'm hoping we'll bring that interview to you either Monday or Wednesday. It's probably going to be Wednesday. But we do have Mr. Roller confirmed for 2 o'clock. We do a pre-interview that takes 30 minutes to an hour. So I'd say look for us around 3 o'clock for the live stream. We've also got a commitment from the Strategic Planning Committee, which is a committee through the Board of Supervisors that's supposed to have goals and help map out what everyone's supposed to do. And we've also gotten a list of all the committees the board has set up and who is on them, and we want to discuss that a little further when we can get 2 more board members. But I'm still not getting any response from the other ones I've called. We primarily were focusing on the challengers and the people that are coming up in this election, so that everyone that's engaged with this podcast can see them, meet them, hear them, listen to the platform to make an informed decision when they go vote. I think part of the problem is we need to get more people to register to vote and get active and get out there. And I'm going to try to set up an interview with Heather Harding, who's in the voter registration office. She's been very helpful with information for me, and I'd really love to chat with her on a live stream. Okay, so that's what we have coming up. We're still working on Claiborne. He's not returned any of my messages. Mr. Pinnell, I'm going to be getting in touch with Mr. Riddle and Smart. I'm going to try Brandon again. So we're working on that. We're working on that as quickly as we can. A little bit of changes to our website, and I probably should put that in the comments. I'm going to do that right now. This is our website we've developed. This is something I started a couple of years ago because I've been wanting to do a podcast for a good 2 or 3 years now. And I had one partner that ditched, and then I got another partner that never showed up. So 3 times, I guess, is the charm. I've got Sean, and he's fabulous. I love Sean. He's great. He's smart. We communicate well. We can agree to disagree, and I think it's a good partnership. So we're using the website I had already built, and we're just tweaking it to suit more of what we're trying to do now. There's podcast links on it. It's I need my glasses. Sorry, I'm getting old. Halifax, FACTS oasis.com. And on that, there I've put in the comments the website address. But on that, you can find a link to YouTube. It'd be very helpful if we could get more subscribers. We've only got 30, and we really need to have, I think, at least 50 in order to live stream straight from YouTube. We've got, I think, 134 followers on the Disturbed Oasis Facebook page, which is great. I'm excited about that. But that's the one that there's a time factor. We have to have the page a little bit longer before they'll let us run live streams. So what we're doing now is just using my personal account, and then as soon as we finish the live stream or interview or whatever we're doing, we upload it to the Facebook page, and then we upload it to Facebook. So on this website, this monetary bit is kind of Sean's baby, and he's come up with these links. I've added them. I'm just going to tell you about them, but that's his thing. He's the marketing person. There's a tab at the top right that says support. There's like a Cash App link. There's a Patreon link, because we're going to start doing some, what do you call it, like exclusive material that subscribers can get to. I think this is a common thing people do on other platforms like Patreon, Substack, whatnot. And then what's the third link? Oh, Amazon wish lists, because he really wants to get better equipment than my sad little studio that I have here, which I think functions just perfectly fine for now. But it is difficult for interviews. It's just too small to have people in, a bunch of people. And we want to get to the point where we can do debates in town halls, and we have found some locations willing to let us do that there. So we're hoping that comes in the future, but obviously we're going to need better equipment. And I've noticed that in all this politics stuff, the buzzword is transparency. So in order to be transparent, I had mentioned that I feel you need to know exactly what we do if anybody makes a donation. So far, we've invested a couple $100 in software, a couple $100 in the website. The equipment, I got most of it like 2 years ago, and it was, decent price. We're not even talking about time. We're just talking about things to help us along, like, better cameras and microphones, soundboards, whatnot. But anytime anybody makes any kind of donation or contribution, that I will post that in a something on the website, that here's what we got and here's what was done with it, here's the receipt or whatever, because I'm not looking at this to make a living out of. He and I both work and have a lot of bills to pay, so we have to work to do that. So anyway, all right, so that's the update on the website. That's the update on the interviews. I'm also want to start, well, let me back up a minute. I had to go, because I was giving somebody a ride to dialysis, and I stopped. They were in Vernon Hill. I don't know a lot about all these little towns out here, but this was a place called Vernon Hill out on Mountain Road. And there's a little store out there, and we wanted to get a biscuit because we were hungry. I was with my husband, and the guy that was running it was just so interesting. He's a transplant from Alaska, and we just got into a conversation, and it had made me think of something I'd thought of before, and just reiterated that I'd really like to do this. Something, they used to call them like man on the street. Like, you would go to events or festivals or find interesting people or somebody, like even these food trucks around town. What's their story? There's so many people in this town, and we're so not connected with each other. We don't know each other's story. I'm still learning Sean's story, and he's from Danville. I'm not even from here. I'm from another state. But I have been here for 25 years, even though I went out of town for like 9 years of that. So man/woman, person, whatever, on the street, little interviews. When we have more mobile and portable equipment, I'm going to start doing that. I think that's extremely interesting. Follow-ups. We're also, these interviews are kind of really stretching a lot of our time. So we haven't done a lot of follow-ups on things like the YMCA or the guy that got pulled over for the squatting. Scott Simpson, we want to follow up on some of that, because that's been a lot of talk throughout everything else we've done. It's like a common thread that people are talking about, and some other things, so all of this stuff is on our radar. All of this stuff we're aware of, but it's just, you got to bear with us because we are so new at this. But I'm very, very pleased with the way these interviews are going, the participation, the interest the community is showing, because if we want to affect change and progress, this is the process. This is what we've got to do. I also want to mention there's a man on the Facebook world that His name is Robert Pierce. I don't think he lives here, but he has land here, is what I'm told. I've been trying to get him to do a podcast. This actually might be a good kind of man on the street idea. But I want to interview him because he's been making some comments, and when he does, it's pretty much all critical. A lot of it has to do with the Board of Supervisors situation here. But his method of discourse is to be insulting and rude. He told me, I don't know, basically called me stupid, I guess you could say. It just was really rude and insulting. So I feel like this is exactly the kind of person I would like to reach to have a conversation with, instead of hiding behind a computer or hiding out on social media. Meet someone face to face, because every single person that is listening to this knows that people behave differently when you talk to them face to face. It's very difficult for someone to be that nasty to you that doesn't know you, but that's something that's frustrating to a lot of people about the internet, is hiding behind a screen and having false confidence to say and do the things you do. I think that's a big part of a problem in the world today. But, what do I know? So anyway, Mr. Robert Pierce, instead of blabbing all over Facebook and being rude and insulting to me, I would like to meet you face to face. We'll come on here, do a live stream, and we'll talk about issues and not bullshit, real things with real evidence. I actually had a friend of mine, Sean's teasing me, saying, he thinks I'm far left, liberal, whatever. Just let's get rid of the tags, number one. But I'd certainly cop to being liberal. I don't think I'm far whatever. But I had a friend who was very far right, and I was determined to hang on to this friendship because I didn't want politics to get in the way, because we all say that. We don't want politics to get in the way. We can still be friends, but we can think differently. Well, the conversation came to, if we had a civil war and it became violent, and my being a Democrat or a liberal, would you kill me and my family? And he said, yes, I would. That was the end of the friendship. How can I be friends with someone that would say something like that? I think later he tried to walk it back and say he was joking, but it wasn't funny. And unfortunately, I really liked this person. It was a smart person. I felt like we had a good mutual friendship, helping each other and whatnot. But there's a line people can cross. There's a boundary that needs to be held. And that's not it. I can't put myself in that kind of position where someone is going to feel violent toward me for whatever. So, anyway, Mr. Pierce, come out wherever you are. Let's have a chat. Nothing really else new to add. Another change on the website is I'm starting to add municipalities. There's at the bottom of the homepage, you'll see there's a picture of Halifax, picture of South Boston. We're going to try to get more engagement from a volunteer basis to contribute to these pages, like Cluster Springs, Turbeville, all that stuff, because this is such a big county and we're trying to bring things together. And I'd like to know, maybe even the Chamber of Commerce or somebody could help out and have a section on here. Last night there was a thing at Constitution Square with a movie. I didn't hear about it till it was already almost over. Today there was something at Tractor Supply in South Boston with some vendors and food trucks. Only reason I knew about it was because a friend of mine had posted something the day before. So having like a collective county-wide community event, what's going on out in Vernon Hill? What's going on? What's it called? Republican Grove. There's so many little towns here that I don't know anything about, and I want to educate myself. And I feel like having a collective space is a service we can provide, is what I'm trying to say. All right, so anyway, thank you so much for all the mail, the messages, the comments. I don't even have a word for it. I don't want to say overwhelmed. I'm not overwhelmed, but I'm just super impressed at the engagement we're getting so far. It tells me that there's a need for something like what we're trying to do here. So keep it coming, and stay tuned. Our next podcast will be Tuesday when we interview Larry Roller. Thanks. Have a great weekend.